So I was trying to get like all of her stuff ready.
It's all right. I'm totally used to it. It's what Rennie does to me every time.
Oh, funny. So why are you guys in a state of emergency? Do you have fires or something?
No, California. It's always a state.
Oh, okay. You're just in a constant state of emergency. Got it. Oh, geez. We almost had an emergency. I almost just spilled my coffee.
Yeah, don't do that.
Well, anyway, we're going here.
Okay.
So Brittany's on her way to, well, not yet. About an hour, she's on her way to a protest.
Nice.
You guys are on Facebook or YouTube. Go ahead and hop over there. Sydney, Chris, and I are about to start Playmaker and coffee in a little under 2 minutes.
This Kyle life.
Live. Showing everybody my little setup. Got the iPad with this
Oh, it's so dark. There was police everywhere this morning watching for speeders on Cartwright. Yeah. I accidentally took a left onto Hidden Springs instead of a right, and so I had to go out the Humphreys exit, and there was a police officer hiding in the bushes with his lights off. Luckily, I was going exactly the speed limit, but I was just like, whoa. And then, yeah, I saw somebody else pulled over coming back, so just be watching the early morning speeders.
How come you accidentally made the wrong turn?
I don't know. It was
Too sleepy?
6:30. 6:30. Was it thinking? Which is so funny because I hardly ever go out that way, so I don't know. William, Laura, we only watch these lives for Sydney and not Kyle. Thank you, William. That's so nice. I think Kyle'll be live on Instagram.
Yeah, he is.
All right.
Cool.
I was just getting people over there.
Do you guys have a good weekend, Chris?
It was
There
alright.
we are.
It was a lot of working around
They're
the
working.
house. Brittany did a lot of doing homework with Cameron, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I need to call you later. Mike asked some questions and had some alternative options for Brittany that he was wondering if you guys had thought about that.
Oh, yeah?
I need to give you a call later.
All right. I'll be around.
Okay. We just worked the whole weekend. My body hurts so bad. I took forever to fall asleep last night. You know when you do something you don't normally do? Like, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but it makes like my nerves and all my limbs go crazy. And I was on the floor all day yesterday in the laundry room, and so my body hurt, like the nerves hurt so bad last night. I could not sleep at all.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, like when you paint or something, like do something you don't normally do.
That happens to William when he details cars.
Yeah.
She has to
Hi, Josh. All right, we
there
are
you go.
live. Good morning.
Still.
Yeah. I like the picture. That's pretty cool.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. It just keeps getting earlier for some reason, no? I think it's different when it's light outside and when it's not. You are frozen. Well, you're slowly frozen.
Yeah, it shows your network connection's not
Let me
great.
see if I can fix that.
Need to get
All
you
right.
a Sydney system.
Let's see.
I know.
Switch
It works
over.
so great. I haven't had any problems.
I think
Huh.
it's just my router.
Yeah, you gotta get
I'm
this-
literally in the same room.
Well, you need to get the thing that I got. It's great. It replaces your router. Look at all the questions coming in.
Oh.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. Josh is here from Iowa. We do love it when you guys tell us where you're from, for sure. kind of helps us put what time is it there with you. All right, so we just came off a weekend. It is full-fledged fall here in Boise, we determined, but you guys don't have seasons, but here in Boise it is very much fall. We literally went from 100 degrees to 40 in a couple weeks, and so we're in that transition. In Boise still here, we have like all 4 seasons every day. So we get up in the morning and it's 35 degrees and our cars are frosted over, and by about 11 it's springtime, then it's up to 75 in summertime, and then the nighttime is the nice sunsets in fall. So we're having all 4 seasons every day right now.
Wow.
Every day.
Pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
We've just
Except
been
for these
having
mornings.
tons of wind.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
wind is my least favorite weather event.
I can totally deal with the snow in the
Yeah.
mountains and the rain.
Yeah.
The wind, I just can't. It messes everything up.
I hate wind and fog are the 2 that I really can't stand. I don't like fog.
I can
Cool.
live with the fog, but well,
I can't
you want to go
stand it.
ahead and start off and talk about your
Yeah.
latest details and
Yeah.
the products you used?
Yeah. So the last couple weeks for us, I'm sure you guys have been hearing some rumblings and some talk. I think most people know now that dynamic dressing is on hold. That is literally, one of my most used products. I love dynamic dressing. And so I've been just kind of experimenting. We have a lot of great dressings. That's the good thing, is we have a lot of good ones to choose from. So then obviously my second favorite one is Wipe and Shine. That one's all good, but was trying to find something, really just to fit that niche of, in and out fast, maybe like a maintenance wash, something like that. And so I've really started using Odyssey a lot more, which I really love Odyssey. And I think that the application is probably maybe the one that my application, let me just put that out there. It's totally me. This is a me issue. My application tends to make a little bit of a mess. So I use an air driven gun from my air compressor, because I like to put it all up in the fender wells and on the tires. I like to spray everything with it, the running boards of trucks. So I use it on a lot of trucks, but obviously it's not so bad now, but during the summer, because I had a fan going in here, it would tend to, get in the air and then settle. And so I'd have to make sure that I did the tires before I did like the final wipe down or even the windows outside. So now that I don't have the fan in here going, I've been able to use my Odyssey a lot more. And then I remembered why I loved it so much. And so this last week I got to use Odyssey almost every day, which was awesome. I also did finally fill up a secondary bottle so that I can just spray it directly on my brush and use it like a normal person. But I just really love that dressing. And so I think that, that's one that I just wanted to talk about. I know as the entire industry, not just PNS, navigates through this silicone shortage and all of that we have alternatives. And I think for me, I wanted to make sure that I knew the limits and the longevity and all of that before we get into, possibly more products disappearing. And so I think Odyssey is going to be a safe one. And so it's in the Chemtrol line. In case some guys don't know, that comes from the Chemtrol line. It does not go through the Chemtrol though. It just kind of goes with that line. It's just a really great dressing. It smells fantastic. I would describe it kind of smelling like clean cotton. So it leaves a great scent in my shop, and it just has a really nice black flat satin appearance, and it does great on the fender wells. And so I just wanted to kind of bring Odyssey up again, that I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there playing with other products and trying to find, it's a great, I wouldn't say dynamic replacement, but I can definitely use it in a lot of the situations that I would normally turn to dynamic, because now I'm hoarding my dynamic and refusing to use it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hoard all my dynamic and only use it on certain vehicles.
Hopefully it doesn't have a shelf life, because...
Yeah, I'm gonna try and stretch that out over the next year, and hopefully we have it back in stock, by beginning of next year, we can pray. But yeah, Odyssey's really nice. I like it too. It's kind of become one of my top 3, I would say.
Yeah.
It's kind of surpassed Shine All for me, and just how easy it is to use. Dynamic's still my number 1 love, but obviously I can't have it. And then Wipe and Shine would be my number 2. So it's funny you talked about Odyssey and the Chemtrol line, because what I wanted to talk about was I've been doing some dirty vehicles lately, and I usually use Pearl because I have lots of Pearl. And I decided, I have a gallon of body wash and I use it, but I really wanted to give it a try on some fleet vehicles and try it very full concentrate and then try it very diluted. And actually, I really liked it in a more diluted state. We did some big rig trucks this Saturday, and I foam cannoned them. Especially the back of the tractor trailers. These are like 53-foot tractor trailers. And I literally just watched, and I pre-rinsed it, and I literally watched the dirt just start to melt off the back of this tractor trailer. And, we agitated it, but I've done that before, and with Pearl, and Pearl does a great job, but body wash just cuts through the grime a little bit better. You can tell it's not as pH balanced as Pearl would be. That's why Pearl still, for my maintenance details, things I've coated, or vehicles that I'm not trying to go too aggressive on. But if you guys are doing large vehicles, or if you want to try and get some dirtier grime off this winter coming on some vehicles that have been out in the snow, I would give body wash a try. It's a nice soap. Everyone keeps talking about this. What do you have that strips? We need a stripper soap. And I don't think that body wash is meant to strip, but it does have a little bit better cleaning ability than Pearl would for those vehicles that you need to be a little bit more aggressive.
For sure. Yeah, I love body wash too. It smells really great. But yeah, I agree. It doesn't like strip your waxes and sealants and all that good stuff off, but it definitely cuts through the dirt for sure. And that's kind of when I use it too, is if like I'll probably start using it here pretty soon. I'll have a lot of customers coming back from hunting and skiing and things like that. And if a vehicle comes in with a lot of that, dirt and grime on it, I definitely foam it with body wash, because it does just, it cuts through it really fast. So somebody had a good tire dressing question that I wanted to go back to. I think it was Corey.
Yeah, let's start the questions. There's a lot of them popping up.
Sorry, hold on.
That's okay.
This one.
So let's talk about this, because I like this question. So what type of shine does each one give? So I'll run through the ones I'm using right now. So I'm using, obviously, Odyssey that I talked about. Odyssey gives, I would definitely say, a satin finish. So it's not real shiny at all unless you did like 2 coats. So I do 1 coat, and it's very satin. And the nice
like
thing about Odyssey is
semi-gloss.
Definitely more of a semi-gloss.
It has a little gloss to it, but it's not like a matte finish.
But it's not shiny. Yeah, it has a little bit of gloss, but it's not shiny. And then Wipe and Shine is maybe just, I would say it's almost maybe a smidge shinier.
Okay.
And it doesn't, Odyssey definitely blackens the tire more than Wipe and Shine. The reason that I love Wipe and Shine so much is because of the spray issue. And that goes with a spray bottle, air gun, whatever. So I use Wipe and Shine on cars that I coat, because I don't want any of those silicones or anything floating around in the air at any point during that appointment. So I use Wipe and Shine on all my coated cars. It also, the application process is a little bit longer for Wipe and Shine. So that's like my top tier coating. And it's nice because it doesn't have any cleanup on the wheels and stuff, because you don't make quite as much of a mess. But
you could be a little bit more precise with it.
Yeah, so Wipe and Shine is a little bit shinier. Then you've got things like, and some of them we don't make anymore, but we've got a few coatings that were, or not coatings, dressings that we're kind of playing with that have that little bit more glossy shine. I'm not a huge fan of that always. We've been playing with one that I don't mind. It's a little bit shinier, but I honestly don't mind it. And then Dynamic tended to, at least the dilution I used it at, was not shiny. It was kind of a matte satin finish, more, on the satin, but more towards the matte versus the semi-gloss. So I think the biggest standout for me with Odyssey is just the darkening effect it gives.
It does, for some reason, make tires look blacker.
Yeah.
Because if you have a slightly dirty tire and maybe you didn't take the time to scrub the tire with Undressed and really strip the tire down. And you use one of the other dressings, you can kind of see through the dressing and see a little bit of the brown. But Odyssey it like hides that. And makes the tire look darker. So it's pretty cool.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Lynn says, is Bead Maker a base coating like a sealant or a top coat to an already sealed ceramic graphene coated surface?
All right. So
I think it's both, right?
Yeah, it's actually so versatile. Bead Maker can be a base protectant. If you prep the vehicle and put it on, right, you can put it on pretty generously and get a good amount of protection where, on the right vehicle, we can see that 4 to 6 months with Bead Maker. Generally, I see around 3 because, people run them through the car washes or whatever you have. But Bead Maker is also a great top coat. I'm going to go do 2 maintenance details on coated vehicles when we're done with Bead Maker and coffee this morning. And I'm going to be using Bead Maker as my maintenance on the ceramic coating. We're going to go wash them, clay them, inspect them while they're wet, and then we're going to lay down Bead Maker on the top to maintain the coating. If for some reason they're not performing well at all, which I doubt that's going to be, then I would pull out Sol and I would use Sol to recharge the coating as a new top coat. So Bead Maker is very versatile. It can go on top of most of these. I'm not sure about graphene because we don't have a graphene in our line. And we always say that when you start mixing products, when you mix Bead Maker with Carnauba or graphene, anything except for a coating, you may get different reactions as far as smudginess or streakiness. So Bead Maker is very versatile for those, all of those applications.
Yep. And I use it every day as both a base and as a top coat. So, just in general details that come in, it's usually their base coat and their only coat. And then ceramic maintenance or, during the ceramic coat process, depending on what I'm doing, occasionally I'll use Bead Maker. So, and I've never had any problem putting Bead Maker over any coatings, but I have had problems putting it over other SiO2 sprays. So I don't usually have a challenge using it as a ceramic topper on any ceramic, and like Kyle, I haven't really played with graphene. I haven't had any cars come in through here with graphene, so I can't speak to that one, but it's
real graphene coatings, like an actual graphene coating, it works great on. Graphene sprays, I've never used a graphene spray. I really don't.
I just haven't had a whole lot of luck when there's a newer layer of an SiO2 spray. That's been, and I can only think of like 2 cars that I knew that was on there. And when I put Bead Maker on there, it didn't really play well, but, so yeah, you can use it. That's the beauty of it, is you can use it for whatever you need.
All right. So will Bead Maker mask the superior hydrophobic properties of a ceramic coating? And no, it's not going to mask them like it's going to slow down the performance. Because Bead Maker is actually have really good beading properties itself. I don't think you're gonna. It depends on the coating, but you're
Yeah.
not going to notice a slowdown of beading or a increase of beading with Bead Maker. I've done different brands of coatings, and Bead Maker complements the coatings well. I will say I've used Carnauba sprays and Carnauba wax, and I've seen what it can do on top of a coating, and it does slow down the properties of a ceramic coating. I actually had a customer that we coated a truck for a couple years ago. Guy is a rude guy. And he paid the guy who washes his truck to wax his truck. When I came to do a maintenance, like 6 months later, the vehicle did not bead water at all. And he was complaining about it. And I said, well, someone waxed your truck. He goes, he said, no. We fought about it, and I showed him all of the places where there was Carnauba wax in the plastics, in the clear bra, all the areas where whoever washed it damaged the coating. And so that was his fault. I told him not to wax it, but he wanted it waxed. Everyone wants a wax. So don't slow down the performance of your coating by using a wax. You have this high performance, like you said, a superior hydrophobic product. If you mix wax with that, it's like watering down, race fuel with 87 octane. It doesn't make any sense. So you can stick with Bead Maker. There's other recharge products out there that whatever coating brand it is usually has a maintenance topper for their coatings, a sealant. But Bead Maker works great.
Yep. I'm liking the discussion about the dynamic in the comments. I'm gonna have to go back and read those, figure out how I could get some. Okay, so Dead Petal says, just use Dream Maker this weekend on my black car. Wow, that stuff is bonkers. I love it. Yes, I am loving Dream Maker. It's so fun to use. It smells so amazing. Yeah, I love it. It's really, really great.
Really it's great. Cool to see. When I was down in a PDT in Vista, California, doing a couple weeks ago, we did a training. We did Dream Maker on one door of a silver car. And then we checked on it a little bit later. That door was super glossier compared to the rest of the vehicle. It looked like the fender that we ceramic coated was sole. So it was like door, nothing on the next door, and then the fender, and they were both glossy. And it stood out in a picture, so it was really cool.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because this weekend I was driving around in Boise, and some of you guys may know Gabe Garcia from the Rag Company, and I was in his neighborhood, and he has that silver Civic, if you guys follow any of those guys' stories, but he has the silver Civic. I think it's like a 99 or something, really old, and it's ceramic coated, and it looks nice. But it was funny because I had driven by and I had texted him, I think Saturday or Sunday morning, and I said, hey, even my husband noticed the Civic. He didn't know that was Gabe's house. We just drove by, and he noticed the Civic and was like, wow, look at that Civic, and it just looked different. And so it was funny because when I had texted Gabe and said, wow, the Civic looks amazing, he said, that is so funny that you say that. I just literally wiped it down with Dream Maker last night outside. And it looked different than it normally looks. You know what I mean? Like, it totally caught your eye, even on a silver 1999. I mean, it just looked absolutely amazing. So it was funny that he said that was the difference, was that he had wiped it down with Dream Maker, but it was, even to me, it was super noticeable. So that was really cool. It looks like Rennie needs some Dream Maker. We can tell you where to get some, Rennie.
Yeah, we know where you can get some. Come on. Headquarters, ship them some Dream Maker.
Yeah.
I think
Dead Petal says the Dream Maker gloss really do hit different, for sure.
You had a winking eye on that.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get some up there before we have our get together in a couple weeks.
That would be nice.
All right, so Dead Petal, with what are your opinions on using a soft bristle drill on leather seats?
I've never used a drill on leather. I've always hand scrubbed leather. I steamed leather one time and I didn't like it. It felt like it dried the leather out too much. So I just use
So
a brush.
I don't use a drill, but what I do have, and if you want to go check out I think it's on my personal TikTok. It might be on the PNS one too. I think I copied it over there. But I have a 3-inch air-driven drill that attaches to my air compressor. And I will either I do have a really soft black Velcro 3-inch brush that I've used. I also have these cool little pads from Autofiber that are, if you know about the Scrub Ninja, it's like that same scrubbing material that's kind of, it's a little similar to the VLB brush, but it's this white little, pokey material that's really soft.
They're available through Detail Plus also. I think he has them now.
Yeah. And so I use that on leather when it's really bad. I don't use it standard every day. We're talking the leather is already really dirty, pretty beat up. It doesn't cause any damage. I just don't find that amount of mechanical scrubbing is needed on a daily basis. But so I have used the air driven tool and that thing is amazing. I love that. And then I do use steam, but I don't, I use it more of a rinsing, to rinse more. I'm not like full on, I'm not steaming with a brush. I'm more spraying it to rinse the express off and things like that. But
or you steam to steam out the stitching. I use that to steam stitching, or if there's like a little booger or something in like one of the perforated holes, it just blows it out.
Right.
It's funny you say that because I used my Flex PXE 80 with that 3-inch, and so I liked it because it's not a rotary. And so if I had it on slow and it stalled on the leather, it's not going to keep, it's not going to hurt it. So I've done that before. Now that you mentioned that backing, but you gotta do really, really slow. And remember when you get close to where the butt part of the seat and the back of the seat meet, whatever is spinning, it could damage, either part. So you don't want it to rub on the leather there.
Yeah.
But I usually use a Scrub Ninja type material. That's kind of my go-to now. I like to clean leather by hand. I think it kind of feels like leather deserves the attention. Everything else I go pneumatic or machine brushes for the carpet, whatever, but leather for some reason I like to have more of the hand-on experience.
95% of the time I'm hand scrubbing the leather or using Detail Factory brushes or things like that. But you get that Honda Odyssey or something with that real porous leather that you just I've had to grab out the drill and just go to town, and that's fine.
If I got to use a drill or something that bad, I'm gonna probably go from Express to EnviroClean.
Yep, that's generally what I use.
If it's that bad.
Yeah, for sure.
And then come back and always make sure you protect leather, whether it's using something like natural finish or leather cream, leather treatment. Always protect leather when you're done, or at least nourish it.
Yeah. So what about the Tornador on leather? I have like an off brand of Tornador. It's not the Tornador brand. It essentially does the same thing. I use it on leather, but I use it more to blow out the cracks. I'm not right on top of the leather. There's been a few times when I do have like those perforated holes that are full that, I might use it to blow quick, but I'm not holding it down because they're pretty forceful. So again, it's leather. You want to be really careful. But sure, I use it up in the air and to blow out the cracks and stuff all the time.
Lynn may be referring to
because there's ones that use solution, right? Okay.
Yeah, and those like shoot air and chemical, and they kind of blow back into the cone itself. Okay. I've used them. I don't like the mess that they make on leather. They work great on carpet and door panels. But you know, it can't get between the center console and the seat cushion, the bolstering.
Mhm.
So I usually, you know, do all that by hand. But I could see how a Tornador would work great with leather if you were to use like Express Interior or
Yeah.
EnviroClean in there.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it may, you know, if you're doing the headrest and you go to the edge a little bit, you're going to shoot product all over the window, you know, behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
one
And
reason I don't like to make a mess.
yeah. And I'm pretty conservative on the interiors too. I don't like to get a lot of overspray, and I don't like to be more aggressive on anything, even the carpet. You know, a lot of times I don't use a steamer. If the carpets aren't that dirty, I just spritz them with carpet bomber, you know, use a scrub brush and then vacuum them. I don't ever over detail, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I don't ever do anything that, you know, I don't ever do more than what is necessary. So I wouldn't use that product if unless it was, you know, and I'm going to refer to the Honda Odyssey again, you know, unless you've got like a really dirty, you know, where you got to just throw everything at it. But I don't, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't use one. It would be one of those, it might be nice to have if you have that super dirty car, or if you do super dirty cars a lot, then, you know, yeah, you might want to look into it. But I've never found the need for one.
Lynn, I'd say watch some YouTube videos on them and see if that's something you want. It's not a tool that's ever appealed to me. Like I've been to SEMA tons of times. I've watched their demonstrations. Tornador is a great tool. I love the Tornador for blowing, you know, carpet.
I use the dry one, yeah.
Exactly. But I haven't used that other solution.
Yeah, the dry one I use every single day. So Keith says with the Tornador, they can introduce a lot of product volume. So on perforated seats, be careful. Because yeah, I mean, there's stuff spraying everywhere. The other thing that I've always been concerned when I've seen the YouTubes of the one that sprays the chemicals too, is just, you've got to make sure you're wearing a mask and all of that. I mean, all of that is very aerosolized in a very, you know, enclosed space that I would be concerned too about, you know, our own health with. It's just breathing in a lot more products, and eyes and nose and mouth are all involved there. So I would be careful about that
just
too.
the dry one. You got to wear like safety goggles.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you'll be
surprised stuff.
Sand and you'll get stuff shooting right back at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yep. And a good story about that is I was blowing out some door panels the other day, and it literally, like little tiny nails, like probably that went in like an air gun or something, but I blew in the crack, like inside where you can't see. And literally those nails came up and came right at my face. So yeah, even the dry one, watch out. You never know what's in people's cars. All right. So greetings from Trinidad. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Does Clarity Cream have the ability to remove heavy water spots on windshield and glass with ease? And is it cerium oxide based? I'm awaiting my order for testing.
So I don't know we'll say this. I've used cerium oxide to boost Clarity Cream and give more cut to that. I've actually added powder to my pad to do that, but it is not going to remove heavy water spots that have been there or have baked into the glass. If the water spots are heavy and they're recent, yeah, it'll take them off. And it'll be safer than using an acid, because you don't want to use an acid on a windshield. Been there, done that when I was a kid. And if there's any pitting at all on a windshield, which there always is, you will now be leaving tiny etched marks every tiny pit. Acid will do that. So Clarity Cream will remove heavy water spots if they're recent. If they've had a long time to bake in and they've already baked into the surface of the glass, it will clean them up. It may not fully get them out. But I did a test when I was down at Hot Wax in Orange County, where we took Clarity Cream and we used a maroon buff and shine pad, and we boosted it with some cerium oxide, and it got rid of some very light scratches that were on the window, but it wouldn't get rid of really bad ones. So Clarity Cream is meant to prepare glass for a coating and to get off light water spots and to clean windows. It's not meant to be a heavy glass repair product. If you are interested in doing that, you can go on YouTube and see it's difficult to remove heavy water spots and scratches because you pretty much use cerium oxide, a little bit of water, and a felt rotary pad and a lot of pressure and a lot of heat, and you can damage a window. So it does great for what it is, but it's not going to repair windows.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to do anything for, deep scratches and things like that. I have removed some pretty crazy water spots, but there's the limits, but it will get off, pretty gnarly ones. I think that is just a pad issue, play with different pads. The Buff and Shine Maroon is awesome with Clarity Cream on ripping water spots off. And then sometimes I have to go to wool. Not every glass likes the wool, but so I just play with different pads and figure out which one is removing it best. So play with that. The other one that works pretty good on water spots is the Buff and Shine. The Keith calls it the rug pad. I don't know what the actual, but it's like the gray wool. Is there a name for that one?
Blended wool. Yeah.
The blended wool. That one actually works really, really good with Clarity Cream on glass. I like that one. And then Keith says that it is not cerium oxide based.
Yeah. I didn't think it was.
Yeah. Yep. And then I saw there was a follow-up question. Oh, from Scott. Does the black trim around the windshield need to be taped when using PNS Clarity Cream? So I don't generally tape it, but what I will say is if the black plastic, okay, let's talk about plastic and piano black. So two different types. So first, let's talk about plastic. So I don't generally tape off plastic, and it's not a problem unless the plastic is really old and gray. So, and where I see problems actually more so than trim is the cowling between the windshield and the hood. If that's really dry and you get Clarity Cream on it, it could suck it up and then it could stain. But if you're quick and don't leave it, usually paint prep will take it right out of there. I haven't had too much trouble. I have like a toothbrush type thing that I'll spray some paint prep and then, use the toothbrush and kind of scrub it and it comes right out. Not a problem. Then there's piano black. You do not want to get Clarity Cream on piano black or any of that shiny black trim.
Scratch it up. Bad.
Yeah, it'll scratch it. It's easily fixable, so don't freak out if you do. But so yeah, if you've got really close the piano black trim around the windows or something, feel free to tape that off before you do it. If you can't,
so here's a trick. A trick to using Clarity Cream if you're concerned about that and you don't want to take the time to tape it. Go ahead and take a towel, put a little bit of Clarity Cream on your microfiber towel, and go around the edges and cut it in. Especially because your pad is round and your window edges where they meet are square. It's 90-degree angle, so go ahead and cut it in on those edges and then do the center and you should be fine. Or roll the window down if it's a side window and get that edge and then roll it back up. I just went over this in a class that I taught a couple weeks ago, how to use Clarity Cream that way. But I've never damaged anything. But remember, it's not just the Clarity Cream. There's friction involved. There's a spinning tool. So if you let it sit on that plastic, you could generate heat and damage the plastic because of the pad, not really because of the Clarity Cream. So make sure if you're concerned about it, protect it with tape. If you're really good at polishing and you feel confident that you're going to just be able to clean up that area and not touch it, then proceed as needed.
Yeah. And I don't normally run over, so I don't usually ever tape anything off. The other thing is generally when I'm doing Clarity Cream, I'm often also polishing the car. So my general rule of thumb is I always start with glass polishing first. So immediately when the wash and decon's done, I'd go to Clarity Cream. That way, if I do, like say on the back window on a Suburban, if I run up over and it gets a little bit on the paint, it kind of hazes on the paint if you get clarity cream on the paint. So I start with all the glass, and that way, if I did run over with my polisher, on the roof or whatever, then that is all going to be super easily fixed during the polish process. But that is why I do clarity cream first before polishing the vehicle. And then obviously if I'm doing like just a quick buzz on the side windows on a regular detail, then I just, take extra care. So yeah. Let's see. Cool. So Chris says, a couple weeks ago, you suggest I use a clay mitt and bead maker to decontaminate my coated Tesla. What's the process to do this? I just received my clay mitt. Awesome. So I do this almost every day, Chris, on every single car, unless I'm coating the car. So my coating maintenances and then just my regular full details, same process. So you're going to wash the vehicle, and when it's still wet, so you're not going to dry it. Once you've rinsed it, still wet, you are going to spray bead maker. And I use it pretty heavily, like 4 or 5 sprays per panel. You're going to, make sure you get the panel nice and coated with it. Your clay mitt is wet, so you can keep it in your rinse bucket or something. So clay mitt is wet. And then you're just going to grab your mitt and, clay the area, go over that, 2, 3, 4 times with the bead maker on there. And that's kind of the lube. And it's also, applying the bead maker to the paint, and then you just dry like normal. So I go panel by panel. So whole car's wet, do one panel, dry it, go to the next one, do it, dry it. What I will say is you don't want to necessarily try to do like a whole side and then go back and dry, because depending on how much water you've left on the surface, that bead maker could start to set up. So that's why I just do panel by panel. I dry after I've clayed each panel. So it's super easy. It's only going to add about 15, 20 minutes to your whole wash process, and you're going to be absolutely good to go. You're going to love it. It's awesome. I do it every single day.
Yep, I second that. Works great. Make sure your clay mitt is already broken in.
Oh yeah. Yep. So use it on glass first.
Yep.
Yes.
I did that once on a car and left nice haze of where it hit all of the top edges of the orange peel, and I polished car. So make sure your brand new mitt is broken in on the windows first.
Yep. So just do that same process on the windshield or the side windows first before you move to paint, and you'll be good. Cool. So what's the difference between gloss enhancer versus dream maker? I'm assuming he means
paint gloss.
Paint gloss. Yeah.
So there are some differences where dream maker is some things and it isn't other things. Dream maker is the gloss amplifier, and that's all it is for. It is a wipe on, wipe off, leave a beautiful gloss behind product. Final touch type product, but it's not meant to clean light dust away, where gloss enhancer or paint gloss can do a light cleaning as a very light type rinseless or waterless. It is a great clay lube. It's great for anti-static if you live in a dusty area. If you saw our Instagram yesterday, someone posted up a great picture of before and after removing dog hair, and they used paint gloss as anti-static to help. So paint gloss is very versatile. I'm sure you could use Dream Maker and door jams. I'm sure you could use it on other surfaces as well. But paint gloss is more versatile, and it has many different uses versus Dream Maker is mainly for shine and enhancement, final touch, or some people are calling it a pre-delivery spray, which is pretty cool. Yeah, for sure. I think in a lot of those just kind of odd cleanup situations, you're going to be a lot safer with paint gloss because it does have kind of those cleaning abilities and, to help with that. And so definitely on door jams and things, I mean, unless you've perfectly cleaned the door jams, I think just for safety's sake of, grabbing some dirt on your, rag out of a spot you didn't see or something, I would still stick with paint gloss on door jabs unless, like I say, they're perfectly clean and you want them to be extra shiny. But paint gloss still delivers, a nice gloss. It's maybe just not as deep and as,
long lasting as Dream Maker, but paint gloss, it has so many different uses. And Dream Maker is still anti-static. I feel in my experience, I still feel like paint gloss is a little more anti-static. So when I still use that a lot when I need to make sure that that's the goal. And like Kyle said, I use it all the time.
Dream Maker has more body to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot thicker.
Behind more on the surface.
Yeah. And it does take a little bit more, and this might sound bad, but it takes a little bit more attention during the application process. There's application techniques to it, right? And, we say that it works best with the FTW towel, but it's more of that, like when you want to just, be rubbing on your paint, like it's that pop. And paint gloss is easier when you just need to, quickly do the final wipe down of the car. You're hitting the wheels, the door jambs, the windows, the paint, kind of just, and you don't have to be as specific because it's less body on, the application. It's a lot more of a forgiving product as far as that goes. Next question that goes with Dream Maker becoming in the gallon size in the future. Yes. I believe I heard, what did I hear the other day? By the end of the year, early next year, I think is kind of the goal for that. So yeah, we'd all love it in gallons.
So here's probably, I'll tell you what the problem may be with that. And that's why we're going to have to wait, to the beginning of the year. We have so many products that are already coming in gallons that we need to fulfill, that adding another product with gallons until we have more gallons, because that's a big problem in the industry is the bottles that we use. So that may be why we're going to be holding off, because we're trying to fulfill other products as well. So it is coming in the future from what I've been told, and I've been told this a few times, and the rag company has mentioned it a few times, because this has been kind of their baby, their project. So it'll happen. We just don't know when, but you'll be excited when it does. And
I think the goal is the beginning of the year, but don't hold us to that. Yeah. What are your thoughts on using paint gloss as a drying aid? I think it works great.
Yeah, it does.
For one, the drying aid. So I will say the drying aid thing kind of baffles me a little bit, because I don't have any problems drying the car. I think, and maybe that's a toweling issue. So I don't usually find the need for a drying aid. Most of the cars I work on have either just obviously had the clay and bead maker treatment, so that I don't need a drying aid, or they're coated cars, and I don't find that I need a drying aid with coated cars. So I'm not reaching too much for a drying aid, but I have tested all of the products as drying aids. And yes, I think paint gloss works just fine. So yeah, absolutely. You can use it as a drying aid. I think will add a little bit extra, lubricity, and yeah.
Exactly what it is for. I really feel like the core reason behind the drying aid is not just to help water evaporate. It's more to provide some more lubricity to the surface
to the towel.
As you use a towel, more than anything else, and potentially leave behind a little protection. So Dream Maker, or paint gloss, Bead Maker will do those fine, and you'll like it. Now, I wash in Sydney's in her garage washing and using a rinseless system most of the time. I'm out in the field using soap and water, and I use air to dry. I don't have a hard time drying cars when I'm using air, especially because they're ceramic coated, and I'm using my Ego blower or my Master Blaster. So I don't use drying aids very often because of that.
Yeah, but absolutely it can. So this is a great question, Edward. So, and I can see that you're coming from YouTube, which is awesome. So on our YouTube channel this week, we will be releasing Kyle and Sydney's favorite towels. So watch for that, because this answers this question. So what towel do you like with Bead Maker? My personal favorite is the FTW. So the FTW, if you guys haven't tried one, you got to try one. They're amazing. So I use the orange FTW with Bead Maker. It's all that I use with Bead Maker, unless obviously a drying towel. And then I use the blue with glass and the pink with Dream Maker. So I have all my color coded FTWs, but absolutely FTW. The reason being on this for me here is I live in a desert area. I don't really understand the dusting issue that people talk about with Bead Maker, because every car here has dust on it. So I don't think one thing makes it worse or better. But what I have noticed is the static charge. I think that has a lot to do with it. So where the FTW is a short pile loop, it picks up all the extra product, so you're not going to have the streaking issue, but it also does not create a static charge with the Bead Maker, which I feel like is important. When using like a creature or an eagle, that can create a static charge where the issue is actually the towel. So the FTW, no static charge. Same thing goes for the glass. I know in a lot of glass cleaning, people have lint issues. With the FTW, you don't, because of the static issue. So definitely the FTW for the wind, but it means for the window.
Sydney has converted me over to the FTW and I used to love, and I still, do like the plush towel for it. I have a bunch of orange towels. Maybe it's just because I own so many orange towels that I just don't want to convert over yet. Yeah. But I do like the FTW, and I know it's for the window, but when you're using it with Bead Maker, I say it's for the win. So it sounds cheesy, but I mean, that towel has taken on a complete different purpose now. It's not just for windows.
Yeah. Kenneth mentions, and I've noticed this too. So notice the new pink FTW is a little bit different, not as dense, a little softer than the orange and the blue. So without having an official answer here, I know that I've asked this question on many other towel lines from the rag company. And so what happens is the color of the dye will make the towel feel completely different. I have noticed too that the pink feels different. I mean, it still works exactly the same, but they definitely feel a little bit different at this point. I don't know, because I haven't been through 5 to 6 wash cycles on my pink ones yet. I'm not sure, but yes, I agree. They do feel different. But if you think about like the creatures, same thing. The green ones are super soft, super fluffy. The blue ones are super stiff and rigid. I don't necessarily care for the blue creatures because I feel like they're stiffer. So when I've asked that question of the rag company before, it's been that the dye, the color of the dye can change the way the towel feels. So I'm going to guess that because it's that hot pink color, it might have a lot more dye in it than the orange and the blue, because those are a little bit more subtle of colors. So yeah, Kenneth, the creatures, they're the ones I notice the most. The black and the blue, because it's such a strong amount of dye, they're not near as soft as the green ones, not near as soft, or the gray. So, wow, your blue creatures are the softest. Mine are crunchy. So cool. That's awesome. Microfiber maintenance debate. Well,
rags to riches.
Yeah, rags to riches. Yep.
Just use rags to riches.
Okay, so he wants to know hot or warm water when washing. Warm. No hot. Never hot.
Yeah, never hot.
Yeah. Yep, that can melt the fibers and actually cause them to be crispy. So yeah, definitely just warm or cold is fine. As long as you're using a good detergent, that's what's doing the work, not the water. So, just use rags to riches, and even cold is the best, but I totally get when your towels are really dirty, you need to use warm water, and that's totally fine.
And then when you dry them, I just put them on tumble air dry. I'll usually put them on like medium heat for like a couple minutes just to warm it up a little. And then I dial it back and just let it tumble dry. Yep.
All right, Samantha, thanks for joining us. Have you ever had any issues with view glass coating, hard to take off and leaving almost high spots? I never have. I find view amazingly easy to remove. So what I would check is, are you prepping the windshield with clarity cream? Because that is something that we found when we were creating view, was that really the prep, just like with coatings, the prep, it's all in the prep. So make sure that you're doing clarity cream and then a really good wipe down with either paint prep or View glass coating, or I'm sorry, True View is fine as well. So either one of those. I honestly still use paint prep on the windshield when I'm doing a coating, just for a little bit extra to make sure that I'm, really getting everything off of there. So make sure you do the prep, make sure you're not leaving any, lint or anything like that behind. And then really, the other thing too is maybe check what applicator you're using. I only use the applicators that come in the box, or I also use, it's basically the same, but I buy the sheets from Auto Fiber with the foam applicator. So, the applicator can make a big difference though with View. So, make sure that you've got enough product on there, and then because
that's what I think the key is. Enough product on the applicator. Have
enough product. I put a pretty heavy amount initially on the applicator. When you go to do the other side, you don't need it. But if the applicator's dry and it slides across the glass and you can see streaks, you don't have enough material. So, and I think there's a video on Instagram where I show how to install View. So maybe go check that out. It's on our IGTV. When we were at Monterey, I kind of gave a quick demo. So the thing is heavy on the putting the product on the applicator, and then do a diagonal line to draw product so that when you're spreading it, you continually you're picking up that wet line and making sure you have enough product. Because my guess is if it's flashing off that fast, you don't have enough product. Because seriously, it's like the easiest thing, and I've never had a high spot. So
let's talk about a little bit how she would deal with a high spot if she did.
Oh, and that's super easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Go back to
for me, I just put a little bit of Envy on a towel and rub it out. I mean, it'll, as long as you catch it within 24 hours, super easy to just polish off with Envy.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, I mean, if it's been there a while, that's when I would go to Clarity Cream. And buff it down with Clarity Cream.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So, and then the other thing too, is if you're having a lot of problems is the windshield in the appropriate condition to be applying View. So if you've got a lot of pock marks and cracks and, defects in the glass, you may not want to put View on it, just because of the fact that View does make everything kind of like in an HD filter. And I've noticed sometimes it can amplify all of those pits and things like that. So just make sure that the windshield is in good order. But yeah, you shouldn't try a little bit more heavy application, and then also check what you're using to apply it. So the one thing I know that does not work with View is the old black velvet applicators. I had all kinds of problems with those. And I think it was the issue of the foam inside the black velvet absorbed too much of the View, and then I didn't have enough product on the glass. So just check those things, but no, it should be really easy to take off. So I just do half the windshield and immediately polish it off, one towel. It's super easy. So yeah.
Well, I think we've run through the questions.
Is that it?
Nice.
Well, we're almost up on an hour. So yeah, those were great questions.
By the way, those old black applicators.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite new tire dressing applicators.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. I can see where they'd be good for that.
Yep.
I just found they sucked up too much of the coating. So, and the velvet just didn't slide across glass nicely. So I definitely don't use those for View, but Samantha, I'll see you in a couple weeks. And if you need more help, I'm absolutely happy to help you. I'm excited about that. Is True View safe for tinted windows? So True View meaning the glass cleaner. Yes, absolutely. But always with tinted windows, I treat them all the same. I don't spray it directly. I don't spray anything directly on the glass. I spray it on, in my case, I use an applicator, a designated glass applicator. I spray it on there, clean the window, polish with an FTW, or you can spray it directly on the FTW, but I don't spray it directly on the tint. And I think that's just a, me being quirky issue. I'm not even sure that's a problem. Can I use Eurofiber pads with Playmaker?
Yeah. It's a fiber pad. So if you want to use like the black microfiber, which is a finishing, works great with Playmaker. I don't know if you'd really want to cut with like a wool, or the blended wool with Playmaker. It may leave behind some marring.
Yeah.
But the microfiber finishing pad is a great fiber pad to use. Playmaker is more of a one-step product. And so if you're trying to remove any defects more than what you can achieve in one step and leave behind protection, you should be using something to cut. So, but Playmaker works great with that, or the reflection artist pads, the foam. My favorite with Playmaker is definitely the blue pad.
Yeah.
It has enough density to remove some light defects and also leave behind a nice shine without leaving swirls. Blue and yellow are kind of my go-to with the foam.
So this next comment makes me laugh. 2016 Mustang and the paint is reasonable. I have never heard that in a sentence before.
The paint is reasonable.
Justin, Mustangs are like.
Is it black? Is it black?
I can't deal. So that is hilarious to me.
Are kryptonite. Sydney and I have literally complained about these paint. If it's a black paint, because it's like you wipe it with anything and it's breathable. So if you're polishing a black Mustang and it's a 2016, you should use Playmaker and like the softest pad imaginable, like the white or the yellow, because
and make sure you work the Playmaker completely. Yeah, make sure you work the Playmaker completely, because you want as little wipe off as possible. Because the wipe off is, I think he probably means magenta. Or I don't know. As long as it's not black, you might be fine. The black ones are terrible.
Because there's nothing in it. It's just pure black. It's tuxedo.
Yeah.
So
it's where nightmares are made.
Well, I mean, it's comparable to like the black GM paint now in the last couple of years. As far as finickiness. But Playmaker is a great one step if that's what you're looking to achieve.
Magnetic Ford's name for gray. Perfect. Then you should be fine.
The answer to everything is always ultra coat polish.
That's what I was going to honestly suggest. So do a test spot with the Playmaker. My only fear with Playmaker is it going to have enough moisture to not cause some hazing or marring or whatnot? So test the Playmaker, make sure you're getting the results that you want. And if you're not, and you need another one-step product, I have used Ultra Coat Polish on the Ford Mustang paint, and it's great. The reason being is there's a little bit more moisture in there, and it's going to hydrate and it's going to do a little bit better job. So, and all paint is different. All pads are different. So just do a test spot. And if you don't like the results, maybe grab a bottle of Ultra Coat Polish and see if that works for you.
All right. Well, we are right at an hour. That was great. Run through.
Thank you, everybody, for the awesome questions. Awesome questions. He has one more question. I'm in Perth, Australia, and your products are hard to get. I'll try to. Okay. Yeah. Look for that. I know there is a shop in Australia. I don't know if they carry it. I'd have to look into that. But just see how you feel. The other thing is, if you happen to have deep finish, that might be a little bit better too. I think that one might be a little bit easier for you to get. And so if I can't get Playmaker to work, I will often switch to just deep finish as a one step, and then, apply Bead Maker at the end. So see what you think. All of those products are great.
From Australia lately, there's always questions from Australia, and they all want PNS. I know we have a distributor down there.
Uni's awake. I saw her comment last night.
Good
she thought we knew these too early. Golden Gate North is here. Awesome. Well, you guys, next time we are going to try to have some guests on with us in 2 weeks. So look forward to that. We will, of course, be back 2 weeks from today for Bead Maker and Coffee. And we've got some little events coming up here and there. Oh, I should mention, I am attending Budco's Open Garage open house this Friday and Saturday. They are celebrating their 30 years in business. So I will be there. So watch for some, pictures and content coming from that event. And then we've got a couple
in Utah, right?
Yeah, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then Kyle, you have an event coming up this week too, right?
No,
or is it next week?
Next week.
Next week. Okay.
On Monday, I'm going to be at Meg, which is our distributor down in Indio.
Yep.
And I'm doing a ceramic coating demo and class. It's not a certification, but it's a ceramic coating class.
Cool. And then one thing real quick before we head off here is Chris. We've been trying to make sure to keep everybody up to date on the Hayward trainings at PNS headquarters. So we've got November, December trainings set, and I believe some are sold out. Some we have a couple slots open. Do you want to give us a quick, do you remember off the top of your head?
Yeah, luckily I have some notes. What do you call it? I believe there is one spot left in the coding class on November 10th.
Okay.
Although this is all depends on what was in the inbox from over the weekend.
Right.
And you should have an email from a guy that contacted us through Instagram. I guess he signed up for the 13th class, which already happened, when he thought it was for the 18th. I don't know what he's talking about, but I told him to email you. So that spot may have already been filled.
Well, anyway, and then we have December 8th as a detailing class with space left, and December 9th, which is a coding class with space left.
Cool. And you guys can find those on our Instagram, on our link in our bio. And then we have events set up on our Facebook page. So you can click the events and find those dates. Awesome classes. And then just make sure you pay attention to our stories. We kind of keep you guys up to date on those, of how many spots are available and things like that. Also, this coming weekend, we also have all of the Double Black training centers have classes this weekend. So the 1 day extreme. So if you haven't seen anything about those, you can check. Is that on Detailing Success, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can check Detailing Success for those classes. Those are coming up this weekend. So you'll probably see lots of content coming out this weekend. And then we will be back in 2 weeks, and we will have some special guests on with us, hopefully. And we'll be heading into fall and a couple exciting things coming up. So yeah.
A lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Have a great day.
Cool.